talk about what you saw and heard, all right? And I'm going to ask Team 1 not to vote. I'm going to look to Teams 2 and 3 to tell us about what they saw and heard. Teams 2 and 3, starting with Sherry. When Sherry communicated with the patient and his daughter, was Sherry safe? Did she have a safe communicating environment for herself, Team 2? Do you think? Their considered opinion is? What do you think? Yes? No?
I have a yes and a no. I mean, there's parts of it I thought were good, and there's one thing I would have...
Talk to me.
I thought her attitude was very good.
Okay.
I don't know if this is the right thing, but I was very aware that the daughter was standing over her.
Right.
And making it very unequal and uncomfortable, and I would have maybe thought about standing up and talking to her beyond eye level.
And again, this is a situation where, and as Sherry made, you're not in that position all the time, are you? Is this a job that you do on a routine basis? It is, okay. And now, was there a particular reason why you felt more comfortable staying seated?
Just not to make her any more irate than she already was.
Okay.
She was already up there in a high volume, and I felt if I would have raised up myself, then that would have got her more intimidated. And then she would have, it would have took the awkward even higher.
Okay, and that's a fair, I think that's fair. And I wanted to hear you say that, because while your point is well taken, it does put them more on an even status level. If Harriet's perception is that she's standing up to be confrontational, then that just exacerbates the situation.
That's true.
So, okay, that's fair. But on balance, would you say that Sherry was safe? When she communicated with Benjamin and with Harriet, was she calm and clear in talking to them? Okay. Did she have a plan? Did she have particular options, for example, that she wanted to present to them?
Yes.
Okay. Did she listen? Did Sherry listen to Benjamin and Harriet? Yeah, and she even fed back. She empathized. You know, I'm sorry to hear that. So there were indications that she was focused and listening. All right? What would you say, if anything, was the handshake that Sherry offered to Benjamin and Harriet? What was the handshake? What takes the place of element 5 here?
Supervisor?
The supervisor, originally the nurse, and then later on the supervisor. Turning them over to the supervisor is the handshake in Sherry's application of the model. It's a positive punctuation mark on her conversation, a pledge to go forward, all right, and ending on a positive note. All right. So that was her handshake. Okay. Now let's talk. And unfortunately, we didn't give the nurse a chance to do anything. You were so off the hook. All right. So let's talk about Tamika. Was she safe? Teams 2 and 3. Was she calm and clear as she talked to Harriet and Benjamin? Okay. Did she have a plan?
Yes.
Was it essentially the same plan that Sherry had had? Absolutely. So there's a reinforcement thing going on. All right. The clerk in this case was not part of the problem as the first time. Instead, was part of the solution. They were together. All right. Did Tamiko listen to Benjamin and Harriet? Yes, she did. What was Tamiko's handshake? That she was going to go down to the ER with him and stay with him. All right. So, now, having said that, let's take a look at Harriet coming out of this situation. After this, Harriet, are you going to walk out of here today saying the VA doesn't care? Not going to say that? We'll make that go away. Are you going to walk out of here saying VA docs are never available? Okay, this one may not be completely gone, but we have made a
I think
dent
you
in
can
it.
take the word, are sometimes available, or something like that.
Seldom. All right? We're going to be tough here. You got to yell to get results. You going to say that? You really didn't do a whole lot of yelling that
All the cops these days.
time. We have it now, interestingly enough, in some previous sessions, we've had Team 1 assign members of their team to be the SWAT team to come in. Just so you know. VA has misdiagnosed my dad. You still gonna say that?
Yeah, I believe that.
Good, we're gonna put a question mark there. We're gonna find out what happens down in the ER. Okay? All VA docs are foreigners.
I don't know who I'm gonna encounter in the emergency.
Yeah, and it never even came up.
Yeah.
Didn't come up this time. All right. Frontliners are useless. You gonna walk out of here saying that? Private docs are better? Question mark. VA is all about policy. I didn't hear the word policy. Did you? Team 1 unit. Sherry, you especially, you'll get it. But no, I never heard that word. It never came up, which is good. Which is good. Okay, so now, in terms of Harriet, teams 2 and 3, let's ask ourselves the 2 questions. Did this interaction between the front desk person, Harriet, and Benjamin, did it come out better than the first time you saw them come into the VA? I told you we were going to put pressure on it, okay? But did it turn out? Well, of course, what happens down at the VFW, that's what we do. Hello? No, that's the only thing that's keeping me sane, right? So did it turn out better than the last time? Is it likely that the next time Harriet brings Benjamin in and sees Sherry at the front desk, that things are going to go at least this well, if not better?
Yeah.
Absolutely. So we've gotten a yes to both those questions. Okay, now, let's take a look at the other critical element here, which is the front desk clerk. And we're going to change that, obviously, from Mark to Sherry. And we're going to ask Sherry this. So this is the only time you get to vote, Sherry. Sherry, when you walk out of here today, are you going to be saying family members are rude? Okay, sort of, kind of? So we put a little dent in that, all right? Are you going to say the boss didn't have my back? No, because did you see what happened after Harriet and Benjamin left? That didn't happen the first time? There was reinforcement there, wasn't it? Great, great, great move. So that goes away. My caring didn't matter. Sherry, are you going to say that?
No.
Are you walking out of here today with the idea that your training and the policies are useless?
No.
No. You hate your job?
No, I don't.
That took a little longer than I would hope. Okay. Are you going to quit? Not unless you get a better offer. Anyway, here's what I'm saying.
The jury's still out on that part.
That's right. And you're not going to quit in place, obviously. You're just not that kind of person. So now, teams 2 and 3, in terms of the front desk clerk, did this turn out better than the last time? Definitely. Is it likely that the next time Sherry and Tomiko interact with each other on something that has to do with work, that it's going to go at least this well between them, if not better? Absolutely. And that means that by using the model, Team 1 was able to take this situation. It's not perfect. It's not absolutely perfect. Harry's not in love with us yet. But it's better than it was. And it stands to get better as time goes on. So they effectively used the model to make an incremental change in the work environment. Well done. Good job. Okay. Now we know that there are other chronic patient confrontation situations that you run into all the time. We're going to, Rob is distributing a form right now that will allow you to begin building your own case book so that you can take this technique and put it to work on the actual situations that you deal with on a regular basis. The format is the same as the forms you used before. It's the same form that we use to build the scenarios that were presented in this program. What you want, here are some of the ones we found. The drug seeker, the appointment fumble, care policy changes, copay versus entitlement, or co-managed care, part of which was involved in this. So what you want to do with these forms, when you have time to sit down and analyze a particular conflict that you deal with a lot, first of all, give it a name, give it a title so that you've got a reference point that you can go back to. Then identify the players, not by name, but by function or role that they have in this interaction. Is it a frontliner? Is it a supervisor? Is it a patient advocate? Is it a manager? Whoever it is, write them down. Identify the role. Then, for each role, identify what you think the assumptions are that these folks are bringing into the situation with them, just like you did in your team's scenario. Identify those assumptions. This is challenging at first, but the more you do it, the better you get at it. All right? Identify those assumptions. Then, decide how those assumptions are damaging the problem-solving process. When I have somebody coming in with the assumption that the BA doesn't care, how does that damage the process? So identify the damage it does. Then the most important part is number 5. What will you do to change this? How will you take these assumptions and their damage, and what will you do to help make that better? Because you must do something. If you do nothing, nothing changes. And you have wasted your time today. You may do that at your convenience. And feel free to make as many copies of these forms as you want. They are for you to use. The idea is to begin building your own case file of challenges that you're able to overcome with this model. All right, let's now move on to scenario number 2 that we call attention with Team 2. Remember that Chuck is going to want the negative write-ups taken out of his file and put into Barry's file. He is also going to want 2 Friday shift changes so that he has the day shift where he can take the safety course that qualifies him for promotion. Barry is going to insist on keeping his day shift intact. He's not willing to give up anything for Chuck. And he's going to want Chuck fired for trying to take a swing at it. So, Team 2, who is going to portray Chuck's supervisor? Let's hear it from Brenda. Come on up, Brenda. She leaps from her chair and goes running to the front of the room, ladies and gentlemen. All right, Brenda, are we going to meet anybody else in the course of this scenario? We're not? Not right now, but you're going to hold that in the bank.
Make them do it. They won't do it.
Oh, so we couldn't get another volunteer on Team 2. I see how this works. Okay. What did you want?
I wanted very supervised.
You wanted very similar. Okay.
Just
But
not a
nobody
consultation.
nobody wants to step up and
We'll see which direction you guys go with it, and that's determined if we need a supervisor.
in the words of the ancient philosopher,
Which
no
one?
guts, no glory. Okay, that's all I'm saying. All right, so, Brenda, our insurance requires us to tell you that this scenario involves a violent gesture. We let you know that, and we will. This is very good to hear. And we will escort you in at the appropriate time so that you're not in any physical danger. That would be very good.
And I can't be held accountable for the
Okay, I'm going to go back and sit with Kiki. You know what? I'm scared now. Okay, with that in mind, are you ready, Kiki? Are you ready, Brenda?
Yeah.
You know Kiki. She is so not ready. All right, so let's have another look at teams 1 and 3. Again, I want you to look for the 5 elements in Brenda's approach. I want you to look at the high status assignments that we want to achieve and maintain. And think about the 2 questions that we're going to use to measure the success of moving this to a better place. So with that in mind, let's take another look at scenario number 2. We're going to start in the middle, okay, just so you know.